lot of real good energy in building third parties. There's a lot of anger turned to action, and that is a really, really powerful thing. It's a shame that that massive, massive grassroots effort that Bernie Sanders was leading didn't get taken as it is and transferred into that powerhouse that it could have been. But people are in the background right now, moving and shaking. You've got the Movement for a People's Party, you've got the National Progressive Party, and you've got folks all around trying to build this effort. And, you know, quite frankly, the most important thing that I can think of with any of these groups is not to rebuild the DNC into your new platform. And I want to take direct hit on the idea of pay-go. Nancy Pelosi destroyed any potential chance of a progressive agenda with her insistence on shoving through pay-go. Nauseating amounts of capitulation occurred with the progressive members of the Congress who went ahead and voted and put their efforts behind Nancy Pelosi. Now, I don't care one iota about whether or not Nancy Pelosi is tenured or whether she's seen as a pit bull or whatever. What she is somebody who believes in austerity. She's someone who believes in actually forcing cuts or tax hikes to pay for every ounce of spending, which as a sovereign, monetary sovereign nation is absolutely worse than just about any other fuck up you could make. But there's a reason they do that. The reason why they do pay-go is to completely and utterly make impossible a progressive agenda paid for by public money through government spending. The only way they allow a progressive agenda to go through is through a public-private partnership, or something like Elizabeth Warren pushing green financing of a New Deal, selling green energy, green imperialism, you name it. Well, third parties today are busy working on trying to build their platform. And I have long since advocated that rather than rip and replace everything, you've already got a phenomenal platform in what Bernie Sanders had pushed through. But even with Bernie Sanders' platform, the economics that the establishment Democratic Party has put forward is so antithetical to any of what Bernie put forward that it's almost criminal. It doesn't make any sense. But the problem is that most people are genuinely either not capable, not willing, tired, exhausted, spent, burnout, unwilling to learn how to counter the pay-go narrative. And as a result, I fear third parties will be baking in the same fallacies, the same ignorance, the same punitive idea of punitive politics, which is eat the rich, the freaking eat the rich, which, you know, sounds good, sells bumper stickers. But the more appropriate one would be feed the poor. Instead of worrying about an economy of punitive nature, focusing on an economy of care. And by care, I mean taking care of the people. And the reason why this is so important is obviously pay-go, by its very mention, appears that we're all using your tax dollars to pay for the poor, to pay for these programs. And all of a sudden, the people that are a little bit wealthier, they go, well, I really don't want my hard-earned tax dollars going to fund your bad decisions. And then that steamrolls straight on through. Person after person after person has got to be disabused of the idea that their tax dollars are paying for programs. And it's a heavy lift. It's an incredibly heavy lift. And the worst part of it is that everybody wants to believe that they know as much as you. They want their egos stroked. They want to feel like they're smart. They want to feel like they know what's going on. because their whole life they fought to raise taxes to pay for shit, even though that's completely and fundamentally not how it works. So this is really important to third parties that are about to build the foundation of their entire organization, their entire ethos, their entire approach to how to get things done. And you saw Bernie Sanders up there on the stage babbling, incoherently almost, about it's going to be pretty expensive. It's going to be pretty expensive. I loved Bernie. It's got nothing to do with bashing Bernie. But Bernie couldn't answer the question because he was trapped. He had one foot in the past and one foot in the future, and he wasn't sure what to do, so he shit on today. The reality is that Bernie Sanders' plans, and if you look, all of them included insane amounts, not insane, good insane, massive amounts of deficit spending. Because he recognized fundamentally, because he had the best economist in the world on his staff, he understood inherently that taxes do not fund spending. But he also knew inherently that you all, not you, I'm sure it's not you, right? Not you, because you're going to take it personally. Not you. It's the proverbial you. You thought that taxes paid for spending. So Bernie had to accommodate proverbial you, so he didn't get laughed off the stage. Well, guess what? Bernie's no longer running for president right now. So it's time to lift the veil, pull the curtain back, and realize that our economy is based on a fiat currency that doesn't require taxation to pay for programs. It requires taxation as a tool for inflation control, for driving the need for the currency, but not to pay for stuff. Not to pay for stuff. So as third parties are developing these things, and the same people that were disgruntled in the Democratic Party that have now slid over to create the new parties are bringing the same stupid, uninformed macroeconomic perspective that they got to soak the rich, that they got to raise taxes to pay for shit, and they don't think that this is a platform-specific idea. They don't think that talking about economics and how you pay for these programs is quote-unquote platform. But it is the platform because we all agree with very little deviation. We all agree what exactly that platform should look like. I'm sure there's somebody out there that's so left they're almost right that probably will have complaints about various aspects of a Green New Deal, or various complaints about Medicare for all, various complaints about ending student debt because they paid theirs and somebody else, some other bullshit, right? But the bottom line is that we largely all agree on the platform. We all agree there should be paid family and medical leave. Most believe that we should have a federal job guarantee to ensure times like today are not met without a solution. Okay, they also believe that we should be providing a minimum income, a guaranteed minimum income, not a universal basic income, a minimum income like Martin Luther King advocated for. Okay? And they also believe that we should have our infrastructure brought to the new age and also made sustainable and getting rid of fossil fuels. So I mean, it's not like you got to create this stuff. It's already there. The thing that we don't have is the ability to answer the question coherently and with force and with absolute certainty of how we're going to pay for it. Next time somebody comes up on the stage and they're in these debates and they're like, well, how are you going to pay for it? The answer should be like just rolling right off your tongue. Man, Congress will absolutely fund it by appropriating and authorizing the spending. And that's it. Because at the end of the day, Article 1, Section 8 should be on everyone's tongue. They shouldn't be flinching. They should understand that this is a fiat system we're on. It's not a gold standard. Taxes literally do not fund spending at the federal level. So this should be part of every third party's platform. It should be front and center so that when a new person runs on their platform, that it's not a question that they have to come up with on their own, that they've already established the roots and the foundation of how all these incredibly altering programs, society-changing programs. Like even how would you attack reparations? How would you attack expanded Social Security? How would you attack eliminating student debt all at the same time without going incrementalism, without going means testing, without doing all the neoliberal crap with public-private partnerships? How would you do that? And the only way to do that is to have it baked into your platform. So people acting like economics is somehow or another separate from the platform are just completely missing the point. And it's horrible because guys like me who spend day and night round the clock nonstop thinking about how to empower the progressive agenda with explaining that question of how you're going to pay for it, lose their minds when they're cuckolded and shoved off in the corner and patted on the head. Now, go over here and mind your business in this little teeny hole. Fuck that, man. You don't know how to answer the question how you're going to pay for it. I do. Your platform won't work unless you know how to pay for it. And that's been the problem with progressives and Democrats and any other person that's fought for social change and social justice and large programs to support the American people, because they have never been able to answer that question. The time is now. In the middle of a damn pandemic, we still can't answer how to get people minimum basic income during the crisis. That is pathetic. The answer is just do it. Well, if you just do it now, what's the difference with doing it later? There is no difference. If you had the means now, you had the means later. So you need to know how to explain that. And if you can't explain that, it's time to crack the spine of a book or listen to someone who's taken the time to do it and not act like we're all on the same wavelength. We're not. Some of us have killed ourselves to get that knowledge. It would be best to listen and not act like, oh, well, let me try and undercut the guy that for the last 5 years has done nothing but talk and research and interview and do everything. No, that's not the way you do this. There's too much out there. There's too much information out there, and it's too important and too vital. Our entire movement is a class movement. It must be a class movement. Understanding the intersectionality of race and gender and all the other aspects of our human condition. But there must be the understanding of the class, and that class struggle has to be expressed in how you're going to pay for it. And if you believe that it's taxpayer dollars, once again, you're tipping your hat to the wealthy, claiming they are the gods of your universe. That can't be part of a third party. A third party coming out still bowing to the gods of wealth is just completely inept and useless. May as well vote Democrat. May as well stay in the duopoly. No, a third party worth its salt understands the concept of public money, understands that Margaret Thatcher and Ronald Reagan were not right, that there is such a thing as public money. It's not taxpayer dollars. In fact, taxpayer dollars is a racist, classist trope intended to shut down social spending. And yet, look how many progressives use this racist, classist trope to describe how they're going to pay for it. We're going to use taxpayer dollars. We're going to raise taxes. This is right-wing, not right-wing, right-wing thinking. And it's all throughout the progressive movement. So as you build your third party, how are you going to pay for it? How are you going to pay for a bold progressive agenda? Or are you just going to be the party of no also? How are you going to do bold things if you can't explain how to pay for it? Why would this be a secondary issue or a tertiary issue? Why would this be something to be pushed off? That's ridiculous. It's completely defeating of the point of creating an escape hatch out of the Democratic Party. If you're going to do that, do it right. Take the time to learn this stuff because it is absolutely essential to any chance of a future. I'm Steve Grumbine with Real Progressives. Have a great night.